Okay, guys, be ready. Okay. What do you think? I got a haircut. I know. It's crazy, right? I also shaved a little bit. Anyways, hey guys, it's Joshua Reviews. Christmas. I mean, look how festive I am. Look how festive. Anyways, you guys aren't here to watch me ramble about the Christmas decorations, the Christmas hat, the Christmas t-shirt. No, you're here to you're here to watch me ramble about a movie. Specifically, Red Snow, a movie that I've been meaning to cover for at least 2 years now, but never got around to. Why? Simply because I didn't want to. Truth be told, this movie, I'm going to be honest, this movie did not look the least bit interesting. A vampire Christmas movie. Okay, so vampires are a household name at this point. Everyone knows what a vampire is. Everyone loves the shit out of vampires. Me, I could really care less. I think some movies with vampires are cool. I obviously like the movie Abigail. Fright Night, that's one. Yeah, vampires aren't really my thing. Last Voyage of Demeter. That movie's great. Love that movie. But vampires still aren't like my favorite in terms of like I know Dracula is kind of where it became mainstream. But this vampires just aren't really my thing. I'm more of a mummy type guy. I like mummy, werewolves, Frankenstein, but vampires, they're cool when done right. But I don't know. But anyways, so when I heard this movie was a vampire Christmas movie, this wasn't really my thing. I kind of put it off, but I decided, no, you know what? I'm going to review it this year. I'm going to see how it is. I'm really glad I decided to watch it finally. Yeah, this was a surprise. Now, when you watch the trailer, there are things in the trailer that showcase like, oh my gosh, this movie is breaking new ground in the vampire genre of film. And, you see things like that in movie trailers all the time where it's like, this movie's groundbreaking, movie of the year, or this movie is like, phenomenal. And you're just kind of going, is it really? Hype can kill a good movie as well as hype can kill a bad movie. It can go either way. But this film was really good. Yeah, I liked it. So it's about a writer who is spending Christmas at her log cabin, and I think it's like 5 nights or so before Christmas, a dude shows up and is like, hey, have you seen this guy that's going around? And she's like, no. And she thinks it's a detective, and she's a really big vampire enthusiast, like she's writing a vampire novel. And this dude shows up, this bat shows up, this wounded bat, and she puts it in a box, and it turns out it's actually a vampire. The dude turns from a bat to a person, and she kind of befriends him. And he's kind of like, he's kind of suspicious, like you don't really know, like, if he's good or bad, like what his end game is, but she decides to take care of him. And the dude who showed up earlier is kind of like, peeking in, trying to find a way to stop this, and some stuff ensues. That's pretty much all I'm going to give away with the plot, because this movie actually, as I said, it caught me by surprise. I did not expect anything going into this movie. I thought this movie was going to be kind of like, it's a low budget film. And I've been disappointed time and time again by watching so many low-budget films. Obviously, you guys know some of the shit I've watched with ITN distribution. And, I've seen so many low-budget films. It's just gotten to the point now where it's very hard to find one that's, like, good, But no, this movie was good. One of the things I really liked about this movie was the characters. The characters really were engaging. I forgot. I think the girl's name is Haley. I could be wrong on that. It's probably not Haley, but the main girl, I really liked her. She was very charismatic. The actress playing her did a good job. All the actors did a good job. I forget the one main actor in this movie is the detective, or the vampire hunter, but I forget his name. But he was in Mad Max, Road Warrior. He's also been in a few other films. He was really good too, for the short screen time that he's on, because I'm assuming most of the budget went to that, getting him. But all the actors do a good job. They each have a distinguishable personality. Like the main girl, she's enthusiastic about vampires. Comes across as a little creepy at first, but you can tell she's a kind-hearted person. She wants to help. And the vampire, I think his name's Luke. He is suspicious, but you kind of start to warm up to him, and there's a little sprinkle of comedy in this film, because he starts to talk about what it's like to be a vampire, and then he mentions stuff like unicorns exist and other mystical creatures, and you're kind of like, wait, what? I want to know more about this in universe. Like, what creatures exist? I just saw the red one, and some of the lore they kind of delve into in that movie was kind of funny. Like, they mentioned that the Easter Bunny and the Headless Horseman exist. So I'm now wondering if this movie kind of explains that, this movie, not the red one, but if this movie kind of implies that, I can't tell if he's kidding or not. And that's one of the other things I liked about this movie. You really didn't necessarily know who to root for, but you still rooted for the characters. It's funny because the whole time I'm like, okay, she's kind of giving me like a Norman Bates vibe, but the other dude's clearly a vampire, and she's feeding him blood, so pig's blood, I might add. So you're kind of like, who do I trust here? But they both work well so off each other, and they're both likable. Like the dude Luke, the vampire Luke, I believe his name is, he does a really good job making you trust him, but also not. And then when some other characters show up, things just get even more intense. You're like, okay, now who do I trust? Do I trust Luke? Do I trust her? She's obviously the main character, so I root for her. But, it just kind of goes back and forth. I love that mystery element. You're not really too sure what's going on. And this film is dripping with Christmas atmosphere. I mean, big Christmas enthusiast, if I do say so myself. But I love it when a movie is drenched in Christmas atmosphere. That is a hard thing to do with a lot of these low-budget films, and some of them really don't nail the Christmas atmosphere, and I love the fact that this movie did. This film isn't really long, so this film actually really it just went by fast. It felt like a breeze. I was like, whoa, okay, this movie's already over. I was kind of enjoying that. I will say the only weird thing was the ending. The ending was really fucking bizarre, but I guess it's unfitting for the characters. I want to say my only real issue with the film is that it's not really much of a horror movie as it is like a comedy mystery. So that's, it labels itself as a horror, but there's not really a horror element. There's some tense moments, but other than that, it's not really a horror movie. But other than that, I really enjoyed this movie. I don't really have much to say. It's an indie film. It's low budget, but that doesn't really mean shit. I mean, a movie can be, one of my favorite movies of all time is low budget, that being Savage Land. And one of the best found footage movies ever made is a low budget indie film, The Blair Witch. So this goes to show you don't need to have a high budget to make a good film, but a lot of indie films tend to suck because they're in fact indie films. So it's hit or miss. But this one pleasantly surprised me. I'm glad I decided to check this out finally. It's not great. I think I have some nitpicks and the horror element that, it's not really a horror. Besides that, it's really good. If you're a vampire enthusiast, which I'm not personally, I think vampires are cool. I'm just not like a big fanatic. This is definitely one you should check out, especially during Christmas time. If you're looking for like a Christmas vampire horror film, this is definitely a cool one to check out. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this movie an A-. Be sure to check it out. It's on Tubi. So yeah. By the way, I'm sorry if you guys hear the fan. I don't know what to do about that, man. I don't know.